Before we jump into today's episode, I am so excited to be able to tell you that my debut book, Optimal You, Supercharge Your Energy, Strengthen Your Immunity, is now published. Optimal You is a groundbreaking guide uncovering the 8 pillars of health for supercharged energy and strengthened immunity to optimize your health and extend your health span. Delve into evidence-based strategies to optimize nutrition, balance your lifestyle, reduce toxin exposure, and address root causes of health imbalances. It includes a 14-step anti-inflammatory nutrition blueprint to supercharge your mitochondria and fortify your immune system. Plus, you get my 4 lifestyle S's: sleep, stress, strength, and social, that form the foundation of optimal well-being. On top of all that, when you buy the book, you get access to a special area on the website that gives you all the resources, plus recipes and guides that we talk about within the book. You can empower yourself with practical tools and insights to embark on a transformative journey towards Optimal You. Head over to optimalyoubook.com to get your copy now, or you can get your copy from Amazon worldwide or your local bookstore. When you've got your copy, don't forget to share on social media, tag me in it at good_health, GOODE, and use the hashtag OptimalYouBook. I can't wait to see what you think of the book, and I really hope that it brings you lots of health and wellness. Now let's head to today's episode.
Welcome to the Good Health Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Good, a certified functional medicine practitioner, registered nutritionist, and author. In this podcast, we delve into the world of energy and immune health and wellness with positivity, from optimal health and energy to stress and burnout, right through to immune conditions such as thyroid and autoimmune disease. We deep dive into functional medicine, nutritional medicine, and lifestyle medicine, as well as the personal stories of our amazing guests, from Olympians to famous faces and guest experts from all different parts of the health and wellness world. It's time to stop letting your health hold you back and become the optimal version of you. Don't forget to come and join the conversation on Instagram at good_health, that's GOODE, or visit the website nicolegoodhealth.com to find out more.
Welcome back to the Good Health Podcast, where we dive into the science of optimal wellness and uncover the connections that help us thrive. I'm your host, Nicole Good, and today we're exploring one of the body's most powerful yet often misunderstood glands, the thyroid. The thyroid may be small, but its role in the body is monumental. Think of it as the body's master regulator. It oversees energy production, metabolism, and so much more. But the thyroid doesn't just work alone. It's deeply connected to nearly every system in the body. And in this episode, we're going to uncover these connections and show you how your thyroid health impacts areas like your brain, your gut, your heart, your hormones, mitochondria, immune system, and even your stress response. We'll also be looking at this through a functional medicine lens. So rather than just treating symptoms, functional medicine is all about getting to the root cause of imbalances, understanding how different systems in the body are interconnected, and creating personalized strategies for optimal health. If you want to read more about the thyroid and the thyroid connections, you can do so in my new book, Optimal You, which is out now in all major bookstores. So, why does this matter? Thyroid dysfunction is far more common than many people realize. Millions of people worldwide are living with thyroid issues, often without even knowing it. There's conditions like hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, and the autoimmune thyroid diseases like Hashimoto's and Graves'. And they can lead to a cascade of symptoms such as brain fog, fatigue, mood swings, digestive issues, weight changes, even heart issues. Yet despite its far-reaching impact, thyroid health is often overlooked in conventional medicine, with treatments focused on isolated symptoms rather than the bigger picture. And that's why it's crucial to understand the thyroid's connections across the body. So in today's episode, we're diving deep into these connections, how your thyroid influences your brain, mood, and cognition, its relationship with the gut and gut health, and how you can support or sabotage thyroid function through your gut, the impact of thyroid hormones on your heart and metabolism, and the intricate dance between thyroid and hormonal health, from mitochondria, the immune system, and the stress response via the adrenal glands. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clearer understanding of how the thyroid affects your overall health, with practical insights to start supporting it in a holistic way. Let's get started. Not only is the brain involved in managing the thyroid and the release of your thyroid hormones, but also the thyroid has an impact on the brain. Thyroid hormones play a really crucial role in brain development and function, particularly in the early years and through fetal development. They're also essential for maintaining that cognitive function throughout life. Thyroid hormones, particularly the T3, are involved in regulating neurotransmitter production, including serotonin and dopamine. So they have a huge impact on influencing our mood and our emotional well-being. When thyroid function is compromised, the brain often suffers, and this can lead to hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism. With hyperthyroidism, it can lead to symptoms like brain fog, depression, and sluggish mental processing. This occurs because that low thyroid hormone level slows down brain activity and impairs that neurotransmitter production. In the hyperthyroidism, on the other hand, we get the overstimulation of the brain and resulting in symptoms like anxiety, irritability, or restlessness. And you have to remember that if you've got one or the other, you can still have flares of the opposite type. So you could be hypothyroid but have hyper flares. For example, a patient with untreated hyperthyroidism might experience early memory lapses or struggle to concentrate at work. Someone who's got hyperthyroidism might feel like they're constantly on edge or have trouble relaxing. From a functional medicine perspective, supporting that brain health means ensuring optimal thyroid function and addressing any imbalances through the diet, the stress management, and targeted supplementation. So let's take a look at the thyroid and the gut. The relationship between the thyroid and the gut is what we call the gut-thyroid axis, and this connection is bidirectional. So again, poor gut health can impair thyroid function, and thyroid dysfunction can affect the gut. Around 20% of the inactive thyroid hormone T4 is actually converted into the active hormone T3 in the gut. So 20% of all of that conversion happens in the gut. And this process relies on a really healthy microbiome. Gut inflammation or conditions like leaky gut also can trigger autoimmune thyroid diseases, so things like Hashimoto's and Graves'. Nutrient absorption also plays a key role. So deficiencies in certain nutrients such as iodine, selenium, zinc are often due to poor gut health, and they can reduce the thyroid's ability to produce and convert hormones effectively. So if you're not getting those foods into the diet, that can also be an issue. Someone who has chronic digestive issues such as bloating or IBS, they might actually be exacerbating the thyroid condition without even knowing it, particularly if that means that they are not absorbing these nutrients properly. The thyroid hormones also have a direct effect on the motility of your gut, so the contraction and relaxation of that smooth muscle along the digestive tract that makes sure that you are digesting food and food is moving through your system as it should be. And that's why often with thyroid issues, we see symptoms like bloating, stomach cramps, constipation, or diarrhea. A functional medicine approach really involves improving gut health, making sure that there's a really nutrient-dense diet, plenty of probiotics, and we're reducing any of those inflammatory triggers to support the thyroid. So what about the thyroid and the cardiovascular system? So the thyroid has a direct impact on cardiovascular health. Thyroid hormones regulate your heart rate, your blood pressure, and cholesterol levels. Here's what happens when things go a bit awry. If you've got hypothyroidism, that can actually lead to high cholesterol levels and slower heart rate, and that can increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. If you've got hyperthyroidism, in contrast, you can get racing heart rates, high blood pressures, and you can even see atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular heart rhythm disorder in people. One of my clients with untreated hypothyroidism had persistently high LDL cholesterol despite a really healthy diet. She wasn't eating anything that really should have led to high cholesterol. But when we addressed her thyroid function and balanced out her thyroid function, that's when her cholesterol became more balanced. Properly functioning thyroid gland is also going to really help to ensure that the metabolic processes in the body, so things like blood sugar balance, insulin resistance, obesity, metabolic syndrome, all these things that we look at, are also well balanced and your body is working well and that you are maintaining a healthy weight. So weight issues are really common in thyroid, and sometimes that can be to do with this metabolic function. The functional medicine approach prioritizes balancing thyroid hormones to protect cardiovascular health, while also addressing any of those contributing factors like inflammation and stress that also make those cardiometabolic issues worse. So what about thyroid and metabolism specifically? The thyroid is often referred to as the body's metabolic thermostat, and it regulates how effectively or how efficiently we burn energy. And when thyroid function is optimal, mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of energy in our cells, work efficiently to produce ATP, which is that currency of energy in our body. And in hyperthyroidism, we see that slower metabolism that can lead to fatigue, to weight gain, to cold sensitivity. And in hyperthyroidism, we see an overactive metabolism that might cause unintentional weight loss or overheating or excessive energy expenditure. So one of my patients with hyperthyroidism felt really constantly tired and was struggling to maintain their weight despite eating less. Whereas I regularly get clients who have hyperthyroidism who often explain that they are getting that unexplained weight loss, even though they're eating more and they're feeling very jittery. So from a functional medicine perspective, optimizing metabolism starts with restoring thyroid balance, supporting mitochondrial function, And we do that by looking at lifestyle, nutrition, and specific supplements, so things like CoQ10. So then we have to consider thyroid and hormonal health, because thyroid is part of the endocrine system. So it's very deeply intertwined in this endocrine system. And that includes things like your sex hormones, such as estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. It also includes the stress hormones, which we'll come on to in a moment, as well as all the other hormones in the body. So things that regulate appetite, everything, all of this endocrine system is interlinked. And thyroid dysfunction can really disrupt the balance of this system. That can lead when we're looking at the hormonal health, that can lead to things like menstrual irregularities. It can lead to infertility. It can also lead to worsened symptoms of things like menopause. So we can see more hot flashes or mood swings. And we get things like high estrogen levels. It's really common in estrogen dominance, and we can see estrogen dominance in people with thyroid conditions. And that high estrogen level can reduce conversion of T4 to T3, which can lead to symptoms of low thyroid function. So even if blood tests are appearing normal, then this can happen. Addressing thyroid-related hormonal imbalances involves supporting liver detoxification, balancing out blood sugar, and using really targeted nutrients to help improve thyroid function. And then, as we just said, the thyroid gland is also involved in modulating our hunger hormones. So things that regulate our appetite and signal to us when we are full. These hormones are things like leptin and ghrelin, and they can really be altered by thyroid hormone levels. So making sure that we've got that balance of thyroid hormone is really going to help with that as well. What about thyroid and the mitochondria specifically? So we've touched on the mitochondria already, but the thyroid and mitochondrial connection is really crucial for that energy production. And thyroid hormones stimulate mitochondria to produce ATP, which power every cell in your body. So when thyroid function is impaired, so such as in hypothyroidism, we're going to get slowed down mitochondrial activity, and that leads to fatigue, to muscle weakness, and to slower recovery from physical activity. Chronic mitochondrial dysfunction can exacerbate symptoms of thyroid imbalance, and we get this vicious cycle, and that's why fatigue is such a big issue. We also see that imbalances in thyroid function can lead to excessive reactive oxygen species production or impaired antioxidant capacity. So this is the damage to the cells, and the antioxidants are what helps to repair that damage. So we get more cellular damage, more oxidative stress when the thyroid function is not balanced. And that leads to further mitochondrial dysfunction. So if we've got more of that oxidative stress, we're going to have more mitochondrial dysfunction. So we have to support this connection between the thyroid and mitochondrial health. And we do a lot of this through antioxidants, through cofactors for supporting mitochondrial function, as well as those thyroid balancing strategies. What about thyroid and the immune function? So the immune function very heavily comes into thyroid because so many people who have a thyroid condition have an autoimmune disease. So if you've got Hashimoto's or Graves', you have an autoimmune condition. If you have those antibodies, and a lot of people don't know whether they have autoimmune or not, but if you have those antibodies on a test, if you've had them tested, you have an autoimmune condition. 90% of hyperthyroid cases are Hashimoto's. So this is a huge number of people. And if you've got an autoimmune condition, then the immune system is involved. So in these cases, the immune system is attacking the thyroid, and it's leading to more inflammation and further dysfunction. And that chronic inflammation that we can get with this process can further dysregulate immune function. So we can see more immune issues as a knock-on effect. And thyroid hormones play a modulatory role in the immune function. So they actually influence the activity of immune cells and cytokine production. So thyroid dysfunction actually knocks off this balance that we have between pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory cytokines. Things like chronic infections, food sensitivities, and environmental toxins can all act as triggers for these autoimmune processes. And that is why a patient with something like Hashimoto's can improve significantly when we address hidden infections. We eliminate gluten, which is a really common trigger for the gut, and we get rid of any of those environmental toxins that you're living around. So we really look at to clean up your environment. And functional medicine really aims to reduce all of these immune triggers. And this is one of the ways that we work on the thyroid. We reduce immune triggers to help calm that inflammation through dietary changes, stress reduction, targeted supplementation, and by looking at the environment in which you live. So lastly, we're going to look at the thyroid and the adrenals. So these, again, very closely linked by the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal thyroid axis. Chronic stress increases the cortisol levels, which can then suppress the thyroid hormone production and reduce that conversion of T4 to T3. This creates a feedback loop where poor adrenal function will worsen thyroid health and vice versa. So, for example, someone who is experiencing chronic stress might notice worsening fatigue and brain fog because both the adrenal and the thyroid function are going to be declining. Balancing these systems out involves lots of stress management techniques, proper sleep, nutritional support for both the thyroid and the adrenals. And this is really important because looking at all these different areas is how we get true healing with something like a thyroid condition. Because if we are ignoring all these other parts of the body, we're only looking at part of the issue. So as we've looked at today, the thyroid really is a true powerhouse and it impacts so many systems around the body. The brain has those thyroid hormones that regulate mood, cognition, neurotransmitter balance, and when out of balance lead to things like brain fog, anxiety, and depression. A healthy gut is supporting that thyroid hormone conversion and immunity, while gut issues can trigger or worsen that thyroid dysfunction. Thyroid hormones regulate heart rate, cholesterol, and blood pressure, underscoring the need for that really balanced thyroid function for your cardiovascular system. The thyroid also acts as that metabolic thermostat, controlling energy production, weight, and body temperature, and having that real impact on metabolism. It also interacts with those sex hormones affecting fertility, menstrual cycles, and menopause. It's highly, highly tied in with mitochondrial energy production and is essential for overcoming fatigue and improving that cellular health. It's also really sensitive to those immune imbalances, especially if you've got an autoimmune condition like Hashimoto's or Graves'. And the thyroid and adrenals work really closely together. So that chronic stress is a really disrupting factor of thyroid function. So as we come to the end of today's episode, I hope you really understand the interconnections between the thyroid and the other parts of the body and why it's really important to take a holistic whole body approach. Let's just take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered. We've explored the thyroid's vital role around the body and how it connects to your brain, your gut, your heart, your metabolism, hormones, mitochondria, immune system, and adrenals. And these connections really highlight that thyroid's central role in overall health. And it's not just about the one gland. It's about how the thyroid is influencing and is influenced by every part of your body. If you're experiencing symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, digestive issues, unexplained weight changes, it's really worth considering whether your thyroid could be part of the picture. It's also important not to ignore the other areas of your body. So don't hesitate to reach out if you're looking for support in this area. We can help to uncover those root causes and create personalized plans to help you restore balance. For more in-depth guidance, don't forget to grab a copy of my book, Optimal You, Supercharge Your Energy, Strengthen Your Immunity. It has a comprehensive look at optimizing your health and looking at the 8 different pillars of your health. It's a really great resource helping you to connect the dots between your symptoms and any underlying imbalances. So today I want to leave you with this. When you support your thyroid, you're not just supporting one gland, you're supporting your brain, your heart, your gut, your entire body. You're giving yourself the tools to thrive, not just survive. And if you already have a thyroid condition, by working on a whole body approach, you can really see an improvement in your symptoms. So thank you so much for joining me today on the Good Health Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone else who you feel might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe or leave a review, as it really helps us to reach more people with science-backed strategies for optimal health. And don't forget, you can grab a copy of my book, Optimal You, Supercharge Your Energy, Strengthen Your Immunity, out now in all major bookstores. Until next time, take care, be kind to yourself, and remember that your health is your greatest asset. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of the Good Health Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to learn more about cardiometabolic health, you can grab a copy of my new book, Optimal You, Supercharge Your Energy, Strengthen Your Immunity, in all major bookstores now. And if you love the book as much as I hope you do, please consider leaving a review on Amazon. We'll drop the link below the episode. It really helps us if you can do so. I'll be back next week with another episode of the Good Health Podcast.